Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled and pick up your free audiobook because that's what all the cool kids are doing. And you know what else the cool kids are doing? Washing their hands. Hashtag coronavirus. Top of the morning to ya. Welcome back to Jumbled, your favorite podcast about nothing. I'm Zach.
And I wish I was cross-eyed so I could see you twice.
Oh shit, dude!
Hey,
you could be cross-eyed. You saying you talk back enough to Allie, she could smack you upside the head.
Oh man, that is a legitimate concern as we go into day 1 of quarantine.
Oh, you're self-quarantining, or did you guys catch it?
No, we're just working from home.
Oh, so, gotcha. So you're social distancing?
Social distancing, working from home, you know. It's going well, sharing an office. It's interesting. Yeah.
Well, you know, you get a little cuddle break every now and again. That's not bad.
There was 0 cuddle breaks today, actually. Well, I did take a cuddle break with Gus. I did have a little Gus cuddle break, which was nice, but nothing too crazy, you know.
I'll actually be doing some working from home here soon as well. And since my wife already works mostly from home, we're all going to be here, and the fact that everybody's completely lost their minds, and the school system is on spring break this week, but they've extended that break until April 6th is when the kids go back.
I wouldn't say that people have lost their minds for canceling school. I think it's actually a smart thing to do, but I think people are about to lose their minds with being with their family nonstop for an indefinite amount of time.
Yeah, that's the hard part, you know, is and it's not even like having to have the kids around. It's the fact that, like, for a lot of families, they don't work from home, you know, or their jobs require them to be at work. And so now they have to find childcare, which is just another added expense. So I'm feeling bad for a lot of people right now. Luckily, we're in an okay spot. I'm working from home. I'm not going to lose any income or anything.
That's good.
So it's I'm not looking at any hard times, but I know there are probably other people that are.
Mm-hmm. You know, I must admit I'm not a huge fan of working from home. I mean, I do it occasionally. Like if I'm catching a flight in the afternoon, it doesn't make sense to go into the office, or, you know, sometimes I need to focus in on something. But the thought of having to work from home for the next month, maybe longer, kind of terrifies me.
Yeah.
I like people, Zach. I like talking to people. I like seeing people. I like wandering around my office, checking in on my team. And I can do that remotely, like calling them. But when you call someone, it just feels so much more official than, I'm walking by to fill up my water. I'll pop in and see how you guys are doing. You know?
Sure.
I'm definitely giving away all my managerial tricks right now, but I don't think anyone on my team listens to this podcast. God, I hope not.
They don't even know. They have no idea.
Try and keep it quiet, you know?
Yeah, I hear you.
Got to draw
for professional reasons, I understand.
So, my gym is now closed, and
okay, so this is how this week's podcast is gonna go.
Zach is
my Skype just crashed, so network. Let me
God damn it,
open
Zach.
that right back
I'm gonna
up.
just keep recording.
This is great.
What was I talking about?
This is just fantastic.
This whole thing by myself now while I look at Zach's
here we go. We're jumping back in,
he's just about to take
and hopefully Johnny has not stopped recording.
Right on the lips.
Oh man, this is gonna be good.
Closed,
unless Johnny's computer crashed, but I don't think it did.
With the gym and training.
I think I must be having issues, but it's ringing and he's not picking up.
And
so
I gotta be completely honest. Waking up in the morning
could be anything, I suppose.
It was really easy to do when I was
Johnny just called it quits.
Hello. For a match. I just kept going, Zach. I just kept going.
I'm gonna tell you something. My Skype just crashed, and I kept it going too. I have not stopped. I'm glad we're on the same
Oh
page
God,
here.
this is going to be a really awkward couple minutes because I'm going to be talking about how my gym's closed and
Yeah.
how I am struggling to find the motivation to work out at home, knowing that
Yeah.
it's not going to help me survive being choked out or punched in the face on a daily basis.
Well, it's gonna be okay because I'll well, number one, the recording will be okay because I'll put some wacky music behind it or something like that, and it'll be fine. But as far as your gym closing goes, I don't think that you can wrestle. I don't think you can wrestle with your dogs.
It's just not the same. Neither of my dogs are like to play fight. Honestly, it's kind of devastating.
That sucks. One
It's
of
just not their jam. Maybe I'm too big and they're too little and stumpy, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh fuck this guy,"
Big Bear's
Which-
coming in.
which I totally get. Because if I had to wrestle someone who was relatively this bigger than me as I am of my dogs,
Sure.
I wouldn't want to be in on that shit either. So,
No.
speaking of wrestling, you know what's really sad about this situation, Zach, is I am not coming down to see you this week.
I know.
And I'm real sad about that.
I've been test practicing by sticking random things in my beehole to make space.
Excellent. Or to block it, I'll just go right through it.
Well, I've been trying to be nice to my beehole so that
That's good. Well, you just got a little bit longer to practice.
that's true.
It's kind of sucks because after all that I went through
Mm-hmm.
to book flights and how crazy flights were and just a fucking disaster, and then I finally find flights that are reasonable, and then I have to cancel,
Yeah.
which sucks. But such is life.
Yeah.
So
It
now
happens.
here's the real question, Zach.
Yeah.
Here's the real question.
Yeah.
I have Thursday and Friday booked off this week.
Okay.
I do have board meetings on Friday and Saturday.
Okay. Thursday's wide open.
Thursday was a travel day. Do I keep it booked off or not? And is it weird? So normally I probably would, because I would have
Yeah.
gone to the gym, or I would do this, and Allie would be gone. I'd play video games all day. But
Right.
now Allie's working from home, and I feel a little bit bad, and part of me is like, well, maybe you should, save the vacation day. But there's also part of me that's like, you know what? Fuck it.
I mean, do you have anything pressing at work that needs to be done on that day? Anything additional that you feel like is worth your time going in?
I mean, there's always things to do. I don't have anything like pressing deadlines, to be honest.
Yeah.
It is our fiscal year end, which is normally a really busy time for me in the last minute revenue, but because of coronavirus, we're kind of not shutting down. It's just difficult to secure that last little bit of revenue push.
Sure.
So, and I'm in an okay spot. And I want to finish strong, don't get me wrong, but I'm also tired, and I've been getting some. I will say one good thing about the coronavirus and the gym shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is not my sleep patterns, because now my sleep is all fucked up. But two is I've been getting a lot more garage time.
Yeah.
It has been nice to spend some good time in the garage tinkering away.
What you been doing out there? Clinking and clanking?
Clinking and clanking. So I got a little bit of motivation a couple weekends ago when my Winnipeg friends were over, and we were fiddle fucking around with my my old Honda motorcycle,
Okay.
and we got it started, which was the first barrier for me, because it was starting and then it wouldn't start, and then I was like, oh fuck, I don't want to deal with this, so I just kind of let it sit. But then
Yeah.
they were over and we're like, oh well, let's mess around with it a little bit, and we got her going, which felt good. And then the gym shut down, so I have all this free time now,
Mm-hmm.
which it is also awakening of how much time I spend working out.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I got to fill this time. I guess, the bike's going. I might as well get a little bit more excited about it. So I been working on restoring the bike. I bought a seat for it a few months ago that ended up being the wrong seat, so I had to cut off the mounting brackets and fabricate some new brackets to mount the seat properly. So I did that over the weekend and finished last night. Actually, I was pretty happy. I made wood ones first as a template, and got it kind of in a good position, and then finished it off properly and welded some brackets together.
There you go.
And I took a spare gas tank that I had for it, and I sanded it down and started painting it.
I saw that. It was looking pretty.
You know what? It was looking pretty good. Coincidentally, the paint that I got, I didn't notice it at first, but I was looking at the paint codes, is the same color paint that my our Accent was that we sold, and the same color as our current Hyundai, which I thought was kind of funny.
Huh.
And I am not a professional painter by any means, and I know there's a level of skill that I don't even come close to comprehending. But I've painted a lot of things in my time working with cars and bikes, and I like to think I'm pretty fucking good at garage painting at this point. And I've been taking my sweet ass time with this tank, and I mean sanding it down nicely for the most part. I want it, like, there's a couple imperfections that normally would bug me, but I want it to be kind of a little bit more rustic and not perfect, because it is a beater bike right now.
Right.
And I put probably multiple layers. I want to say 4 or 5 layers of primer on this tank to try and get everything smoothed out and fully covered, and no runs, no imperfections. I was like, yeah, perfect. And then I switch over to this white paint, and this white paint is just getting eaten up by the primer. I am 3 cans in on this tank, and it still looks kind of a bluish gray white, which I kind of like the color now. It's kind of weird. Anyways, this afternoon, I guess more like this evening, I was putting another coat on, and with a fresh bottle, and the fucking nozzle broke and it splattered the tank.
Oh no.
And there's a couple splatter marks, which I can live with, but there's a little run caused by, like, it came out instead of a mist, it came out like a squirt gun. And I am still so fucking rattled, and I'm like, well, do I sand it down completely and redo it? Do I just try and fix the one spot, because it's not huge, but it's in a very prominent spot. Like, if it was off to the side or whatever, I wouldn't really care, but it's the top of the fucking tank, like where your eyes are going to see.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a trick where you can kind of cut it with a razor blade and then repaint, but I was like, well, this paint isn't that thick, so it could cause some issues, so I might make it worse. Or do I just accept that it's there and then maybe put some kind of decal or something when it's done, some kind of like Honda decal that will maybe hide it? Or I just accept that it's there and get over and realize that this bike is, was built in 1978, and I'm not doing a complete frame up restoration. It's, tank, seat, carbs, handlebars, and like basic controls and some electronics.
Yep.
So I might just get it and just accept it and try and move on, but my super obsessive brain is gonna fucking go crazy.
Sure,
and
of course.
After we finish the podcast, I'm gonna go and take a look at it, and then probably fiddle fuck.
You're gonna
do what I always do, and I'll tinker, and then I'll be like, you know what, fuck it, and I'll just resand the whole goddamn thing and start all over again.
Yeah. Hey,
but I am into it. $200 worth of paint right now, and that's the other part, is I'm trying to do it on a budget. So
sure. You know what the worst part of that story was?
What? You don't care about anything of it?
No, the fact that I had to fight past you saying fiddle fuck the first time and never having heard that phrase before, and then the fact that you said it a second time.
You've never heard fiddle fuck before?
No, that seems like a purely Canadian thing. And you said decal.
Yeah, it's a decal. Okay. Don't you dare say decal. Decal. Oh. Oh. What is wrong with you?
Hey,
a decal.
Hey, well, okay.
That's what you sound like when you say it.
Okay.
I
I would. Okay. Sounds good.
When I first moved to the States, I remember having a very distinct conversation about people making fun of me for saying sorry and not
Yeah,
sorry.
sure.
And I remember I had to break this down to a couple people that were on our
Mm-hmm.
house.
Mm-hmm.
I won't mention their names. I don't think they listened to the podcast, but either way. And
Joe. It's Joe.
it wasn't Joe. If it was Joe, I'd call him out.
He doesn't listen to the podcast though.
That's true. He does not listen to the podcast. He does. He's just 3 months behind at a time.
Sure, yeah.
So I remember sitting eating, and I said sorry about something, and people were like giving me shit, and I was
Sure.
like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I get it." So I
That's
took
gotta
out my
be
notebook
annoying.
and wrote down OR, as in or,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "How do you say this?" And they're like, "Or." And I was like, okay, great. And then I wrote down PRO, and I'm like, "What does this say?" Pro. I was like, oh, okay, great. So you don't say I'm going pra. You don't say this, are, that. So why would you say sorry instead of sorry? Or, O-R. And they just couldn't comprehend. So to be a dick, as I am, I just started saying, I'm going professional. Like, why? Goddamn Americans. Like, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It's
I
an
don't.
O and
It
an
doesn't.
R. It's or.
Sure, I get it, but there are two R's. That's my thinking behind it. The word story.
Okay.
The word story is O-R.
Yeah, but that's
right?
yeah, but still professional. Y'all say professional, but then you say I'm going pro, not pra. So it doesn't make sense.
We don't say we don't say professional. Who says professional?
You guys all say professional.
Johnny, I've never said
Every
professional.
single American has the exact same accent, and it's all professional.
I can tell
Or it'll
you.
be pra.
I can tell you for certain.
Maybe it's not like professional. Maybe it's a professional. Like
Yeah,
there's a
sure.
U in there.
Sure, I've heard professional. Yeah.
Not professional. Professional.
Sure. Americans have lazy mouths. That's what we're learning.
Not
right?
just their mouths. Heyo.
All right, bro.
Brah. It's brah.
I mean, it's bruh. If we want to be.
Fiery. I'm sorry. I've been pent up. I went to
The English
Canadian
language
Tire
is
today.
stupid.
English language is absolutely the dumbest language.
Canadian
ever made.
or American, it's all stupid, right?
Oh yeah, I agree.
Because one thing we can both agree on, the word brother is not brother, right? It's not brother, it's brother, right? And we both say that the same way, but we were just having
I
an
say
argument
brother.
about the O, right?
brother. I always say brother.
Fucking liar, dude. You're such a liar, man.
Zach, I have never lied to you in my life. How dare you accuse me of such nonsense?
All I'm saying
Brother.
is the all right, brother. The English language is fucking stupid. What did you say you got pent up anger? You've been doing what?
Well, because I've been in the house and there's no gym and I don't have anything to exert myself
Oh
on.
yeah, and you're not you're not into
I mean, I did work out at home. It wasn't intense. I wasn't motivated because I wasn't.
Sure.
There's no.
Well,
there's a purpose. Like, yeah, I want
Right.
to keep, building my body, and I want to, keep getting better and better looking,
yeah.
and be healthy. I guess. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the secondary. Let's be honest. But the reality is, I work out so that I can compete better, right? And now that I know
Sure.
that there's no competitions right now. Everything's canceled indefinitely. Maybe in May. I'm hoping in May.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to tell myself that hey, John, there's a tournament in May. You can't get time on the mats, but you can keep your body in shape so that when you can, you're good to go.
Right.
But then there's that little voice in my head that's like, yo, just sleep a little bit longer. Yo, just snuggle your dog. Yo, it doesn't matter. It's probably going to get canceled anyways.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a tough time. But I've been keeping myself distracted in the garage, building shit.
Yeah. Well, and as you know, I'm not one for all things exercise related, but I would assume that a lot of the motivation from from exercising and working out and being active in that way. There's probably a lot of not necessarily competition for the sake of competing, but like trying to outdo other people that are there, trying to
training partners. Yeah, for sure.
So there's a lot of that you're missing out on too, which is another motivating factor for you not to push yourself.
Absolutely. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm sure I'll get settled and.
Oh, Johnny, I know you'll figure it out. You know what? Tomorrow you're gonna wake up. You're gonna have a little bit of wind in your sails, and you're gonna fucking go ham, dude. Tomorrow's your day.
Go to town. I do got to go to bed earlier because that's been the new thing of I'm working from home, so it's really easy to get to work early because it's in my house, right?
Sure.
So then I stay up later and then I sleep in and I don't want to work out. And if I don't work out in the morning, I am not as fresh if I don't work out in the morning.
Right.
So I need to stick to my routine aside from the gym. And then I just need to find something to replace the gym.
There you go. Yeah, I like it. I'm going to be working from home partially tomorrow. Tomorrow morning I got to go in. They have not quarantined. They haven't completely shut down our office. Nobody's been reported as having anything in our office, but what we're doing is we're transitioning to a work remotely if possible policy. And it is possible for me to do my job remotely. Granted, there might be some times where I have to go in and, fix somebody's computer. Yeah, if they're having actual hardware issues or something like that, I might have to go in. But for the most part, we have, remote support software. We've got all the things we need to do from home. So I can just sort of work in my underwear, which is something I haven't been able to do before. Oh, wait, I don't wear underwear. So I get to work. I get to work commando. I get to work.
Go down this rabbit hole.
I get to work commando. Think about that tomorrow when you're working from home, dude. Think about that, Johnny.
Porky pigging it?
Yeah. Think about me porky pigging it. That's
exactly what all Americans sound like.
Fuck you, dude.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of true.
Isolation crazy, and it's only been one day. Allie was on a conference call this morning, and I walked into the office, and I could see people on video, and I was like, oh, God, are you on video right now? Because they're just going to see my dumbass walking in the background. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Got coffee and was in shorts. And
your fucking hair is just all over the place.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the other piece, too, is when do I shower?
Yeah.
Because I shower for work.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you just have to time it right, man.
It's not even a timing thing. I have all the time in the world. I could literally shower on my lunch break, which I don't normally take lunch. And I did not take lunch today too, which I think is pretty dumb of me because I'm working from home. How hard is it? But sometimes I just get in the zone, man. I just go hard,
Yeah, it's been nuts around the office. We're in preparing for this scenario at work where pretty much everybody, 170 people, are going to be working remotely, connecting to a VPN and all that stuff. We've been having to give trainings and get people some cables or hand out temporary monitors or whatever, and so it's been crazy. Yesterday was an awful day, legitimately terrible. I don't think I sat down for a collective 10 minutes the entire day,
Ooh, yeah. The nice thing is the days go by really quick, right? Which,
yeah,
that is nice when that happens, when you kind of look down and you're like, oh shit, it's 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock already. That's good.
But I mean, today started out hard too. I was before 8:30, I was already in a full sweat just from having hoof it around and bring people shit and all this stuff. So we've been in a full tear because they've been pushing really hard to just get people out of the office, get people working remotely so that we can all try to be a little bit more safe, I guess. Still think it's I don't know. It's just sort of crazy to me. Like, I understand that there are segments of society that are more susceptible, and I think for certain individuals, if you interact with the elderly on a regular basis or whatever, then yeah, you should probably be a little bit, more cautious. I don't have any grandparents around here. I don't hang out with elderly people. Most of my workforce is not elderly, and I'm an introvert, so I'm like, I prefer to be home.
Social
Anyway,
distancing isn't bothering you at all.
right? It's not bad at all. So I think I'm one to suffer the least. But I mean, around here they've already started closing down like restaurants, and obviously like they've been doing like limitations on like public gatherings and stuff like that to, I think it's 50.
Ours is 50.
Yeah, I think it's 50 right now.
We went to 50.
And so that takes out pretty much all the restaurants, so it is what it is. And I think that's effective for another 15 days.
Oh, see, we don't even have a timeline. They're just like, we'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
Great. Same thing with this working from home. Like, no one knows, right? It could be 1 week. It could be 3. I've heard some people say expect to do it for 3 months before we'll be recovered.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about today to some of my coworkers. I was like, it's not like anybody in the office has come down with it and we're being made to leave the office.
Right, but that's
mandatory.
That's the purpose, right?
Right.
The intention is that people don't get it, because it's not necessarily how deadly is the virus itself. It's the total drain on health resources, right?
Right. It's the same thing that you were saying. It's just like since we aren't on a mandatory thing and we're still deciding to work from home, we have no timeline for when we can all expect to enter the building again. Although I plan, like I said, probably having to do that once or twice a week, probably going into work for a half day once a week or something like that, just to, fix a problem that might be lingering or something in the office. But hey guys, let's get right to it, because the coronavirus is coming for all of us and we don't have time. So I want to get this out before I die. The audiobook that we are going to cover this month, for the month of March, is Wanderlust USA by Flula Borg. In the zany, eye-opening, and delightful 6-part audio series, Flula travels the breadth of the United States in search of its coveted and weirdest pastimes to learn more about the country and to better understand what drives people to these cultural events. His adventures include experiencing the famed Iditarod dog sledding race in Alaska, partying up during the U.S. Open of surfing in California, donning Elvis studs for Elvis Week in Mississippi, and portraying a Minuteman at Lexington's famous Revolutionary War reenactment. Flula Borg, if you guys don't know, Flula Borg has been on Conan several times. He's a YouTube personality. He's German-born, but he's a big fan of America and all things American, and he's a funny dude. So if this is something that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and go pick that up. If something else would tickle your fancy a little bit better, hey, Audible has about 180,000 other titles that you can choose from, so you're guaranteed, and that is a jumbled promise to find something out there, especially in the erotica section, all you perverts, that you can listen to and enjoy. Let us know what you're listening to. Thank you, Audible. And thank you guys for supporting Audible and for also supporting the podcast. And speaking of the podcast, I think there's more of it coming.
I did think about it today. I was like, well, if everyone's out of the office, like our building is still open because we have doctors' offices and whatnot.
Sure.
And that's another reason why we're like on our floor, down our hallway is a clinic and they're doing screening there. So like we are in a high risk area.
Sure.
Like, but if no one is in the office and I'm there, it's still social distancing. But
sure.
I don't want to break any,
But
rules.
it's social distancing, but while traveling to work, and having to walk through your building, you might come in contact with some people. So, you're not really fully distancing yourself the way you would be if you're just staying at home. So I see what you're saying, though.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to not go, and I'm gonna abide by our rules. I just,
Sure.
it's tough.
Yeah,
I'm having a tough time.
well, and you feel like you can't be like, I don't know about you, but I feel like I can't. Like, I almost feel like I'm not going to do as good work as I could if I were in the office. I mean, I'll get everything done, but there's definitely something about working in a specific environment that's conducive to, if you can lean on your coworkers for collaboration or just to talk really quick or whatever about an issue that you might be butting up against, you're going to be more productive than if I have to take out time to pound out an email or, get somebody on a Skype call or something like that to try to make sense of all this. It just takes longer to do. And
It's a mix, right? I think some people will realize how much socializing they do in the office.
mm-hmm.
And then when you're home and there's nothing else to do but work, I think people will get done stuff as long as you're not in a distracting environment.
Sure.
But there are also things like, again, those quick, easy hallway conversations of, hey, I have a question about this one thing, and then it's done, versus, oh, you're going to send an email or you're going to call, and then it's easy to ignore calls and whatnot. So there's challenges. But I think in general, the studies have shown when people do work remotely or work from home, their productivity goes up because they see it as a privilege and they want to show that it's a good thing to let me work from home. But this is a completely different situation, right? Where I think a lot of people are feeling stuck because they have to, and then there's other stressors in the world that take away from your eagerness to make someone else a bunch of money, right?
Sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would prefer to work from home.
That's going to be the interesting part after this, right? Is all of the jobs that were said, oh, you can't work from home, and now you are because it's critical. It's like, well, can I just keep working from home? And that might have an impact financially for businesses positively, right? Like your overhead costs go down.
Sure. Yeah. I know that would definitely be the case for my job. If they could move like an entire department to to a remote working situation, it would cut down pretty much an entire floor of rented space.
Yeah, I mean, you'll need a few people to for that hands-on stuff like you mentioned.
Sure.
And maybe it's a rotation, like 1 week you're in the office and the other 3 you're working from home, which I think is still good.
Yeah.
And all the new babies that are going to be being made in quarantine.
They're going to be quarantine babies.
Yep. There's a bunch of funny memes about that, but in 9 months there'll be a whole new generation. What were they calling them? The coronials?
I like it. I like it a lot.
And then, in 15, 14 years, there'll be the quarantines.
The quarantines. I like it, dude.
God, people.
What's up? What's up, 2035? How you guys doing?
Yeah. You heard it here. We're calling it out. Jumbled. Predicting the future.
The quarantines. It's going to be... Somebody's going to say it in 15 years, and we can guarantee that.
Coined, trademarked right here.
Yep, you heard it first.
Officially trademarked. There's no going back now, Zach. There's no going back.
That's true. I'm still really bummed that you're not coming down. I've been preparing myself by just not giving a fuck. And I think I was on a good path,
excited. I was gonna hunt down Marion and ask her out on a date.
Yeah?
She owes me a date from our Graceland days. She is the former dean of students, for everyone listening who's like, why the fuck is John talking about taking some girl on a date? Yeah. And that was like an ongoing running joke with me and her. And, get to catch up with lots of friends. I was going to see Ross and you and Joe and Nikki and, just be on campus again. I was really excited about.
I haven't been up there in years. It's probably been, honestly, at this point, 7 years.
Wow.
Since I've even stepped on the campus. And
you have no excuse. But homecoming, I'll be there for homecoming now, in theory. Fingers crossed, unless the world's over. I don't know, but then it won't matter.
Well, there'll probably be a few of us left, right?
Yeah, I just don't know if if the world is ending, if I would be actively going to homecoming. Might have other
Priorities, right?
other priorities. God damn it, my dogs are losing their mind up there. I'm sorry if you guys can hear them.
I can't hear anything, although it did sound like there was something going on upstairs in my house. So I'm sorry if anybody heard that.
I did not hear anything there either. So
Perfect.
We're good to go. So the other thing that's been kind of cool about quarantine, and I've been thinking about moving my work office down into Frozen Tundra Studio C.
Yeah.
And maybe doing some rearranging, and then I was like daydreaming about how we're going to do the basement renovation.
Sure.
Like, man, I could wall mount all these monitors and get some proper soundproofing instead of these blankets.
There you go.
Getting some good visions in, but first we got to make it there. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I might move some bookcases and maybe flip some things around, and then try and get a little bit more table space.
Sure.
So that I can work down here and have some quiet. But you know what? Honestly,
Get
today
some goddamn peace and quiet.
Today wasn't that bad working side by side with Allie. Although I did find it funny that she was like in a conference call and was texting me.
She was texting you while the conference call was going?
Yeah, and while she's sitting like literally arm's distance away from me.
Fuck this
like,
call.
You're muted. You could have fucking said something, but
right.
I had my headphones on and I was jamming pretty hard, banging out some spreadsheets.
That's where I'm gonna be working right there.
Zach, that is way too cluttered, man. You're gonna be distracted.
You should have seen it this past week.
I can't talk. I keep cleaning this room and then I do one thing and it like fucking explodes.
Right. We so the one half of this room was a complete disaster, and it still needs to be gone through. But what it is pretty much right after Christmas. My youngest decided it was a good idea to just stop doing things that we asked her to do. And so she
got her presents. She's on the good list. She knows that. Now
well, she lost privilege to those presents, and they had to come down here, and pretty much all the toys in her room were occupying half of our basement. And so it was just a disaster for a long, long time. And finally I got the gumption. I was like, I'm going to be working from home. I'm going to fucking get down here and...
The old burn bin. That'll motivate her.
Well, I mean, we're already going to be getting rid of some stuff, but we got to go through a lot of it. So we haven't made any decisions yet. But that'll be coming. But I got over there and I organized it as well as I could and moved things out of the way and actually got it to a workable position. So I'm actually I'm okay with the situation as it sits right now. Sure, it can be cleaner, but anything can be cleaner, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's always room for better. That's what they say, right? I think that's what they say. That's what I heard.
Yeah, you made it up right now. I think the phrase is there's always room for Jell-O.
Jell-O, yes. I don't really like Jell-O. I'm not gonna lie. I'm more of a pudding guy.
Yeah, I think.
Like if you had to choose between pudding or Jell-O, what would you go?
Not Jell-O.
Yeah, definitely not Jell-O.
Not Jell-O. I've always been more of a mousse guy.
A mousse. Oh, changing it up. Interesting.
I like the
love
airy
me some rice pudding.
Yeah,
the whippy air is kind of nice. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I like it. It's a little. It feels a little creamier and not as heavy. But I'm also more of a pie guy instead of cake.
Oh, me too. I'm 100% a pie guy.
I think I've said that before, but
we've had conversations.
Yeah, I always prefer having a pie on my birthday instead of a cake. It's hard to work with the candles, but you know.
Well, I mean, candles. You're getting to the age where there's too many candles, and you just don't want that reminder, right? So
yeah, you can do some flambe and just light the whole fucking thing on fire, and then
call it a day. Fuck yeah,
one big candle.
Light it up.
So I had something happen earlier.
Oh,
and it
pee-hole spiders.
That's it. How did you know, man? You saw me squirming?
I can see the arachnosil box on that back desk.
The arachnosil, dude. God damn it, I forgot to put the box away. No, me and you ever just you can't relate to the parenting aspect of this, but I'm sure you can relate to. You just sort of like, you have something to do, and you and your significant other is like, oh, you want to make time, a little bit of time for a quickie or whatever, right? So I was doing that. We were having just a little quickie while the kids were eating. Was the plan.
While they were eating.
Yeah, they're eating at the table, and we're like, all right, let's go.
Wow, family dinner is a whole new meaning.
No, they're eating. We weren't eating. They were eating their dinner, so we went off.
Oh no!
And we were right in the middle of a quickie, right? So a quickie doesn't. It's quick, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't
in
take
the
a whole lot
bedroom,
of time.
I'm assuming.
Yes, down the hall, as far away as we can get from the.
Was your door locked?
Door's closed, and they know to knock. They know to knock, and so right in the middle, mid thrust, door flies open, and I'm not gonna say which one it was, but one of my daughters.
I think that matters though. If it's the older one, it's like much more devastating. The younger one, I imagine you can just like kind of brush it off and say, "Oh, we're wrestling, yeah."
Okay.
So
Okay.
were your feet in the air while you're getting pegged? Like what was the situation here? Was there a blanket over top of you?
No, there was none of that. It was
like
full, just like full.
Like, did you have your gag in, and did Steph have her like leather whip?
Yeah,
or
yeah. My b-hole was full gape, dude. No.
No.
It was doggy. It was doggy position, whatever.
Oh yeah, that's hard to explain.
And of course, for the quickie rules, both wearing t-shirts, right? We both have t-shirts on, so hard to explain that.
Wait, were you facing the door, or were your butts facing the door?
The latter.
The butts, okay. I think that makes it a little bit better.
Maybe. It felt like an eternity though.
Oh, I fucking
the
bet
door
time
flew
stopped.
open. The door flew open and I was inside. Like I was like inside.
Like full vinegar strokes or what?
So like I had to fucking like turn and I like just stared at like in amazement at my child.
Get out of here.
I don't even think I said anything because it was just like an awkward like it was probably a half second, right? But it seemed like it was like 10-15 seconds. Oh god.
Fuck,
just awkward.
So the question that everyone's asking, did you finish?
Yeah. Well, I mean, before that happened, I was pushing through it to
Oh my god, so they witnessed a baby being made.
No. That can't happen, Johnny.
I know.
But still as awkward, just as awkward.
Oh, super awkward. So do you go back down and have dinner after? Now, do you have to have the talk? Like,
no words were spoken. I think. Well, she already
ever again.
Okay. It was my oldest.
Oh, so
she knows.
She knows.
And
well, that's where you just say, hey, mom and dad love each other, and sometimes we got to show it in a physical way and just be happy that we love each other enough to do this. Otherwise, you could be homeless with no parents. Is that what you want?
It's her fault. Just fucking turn it on her.
Live with this shame, kid.
Oh my god. Oh.
This is why I can't be a dad.
We laughed about it though. It was like immediately afterward, like we were both sort of shocked. We were both sort of shocked for a second, and then I just like, okay, well, guess that's it.
All right. Well, and just like that, you're putting a lock on the door.
Yeah.
Fucking not just any kind of lock, not like one of those ones like the door handle you just kind of push in and twist. You're gonna go full like medieval times where it's like a dual door and there's like like a 6x6 log just
Yeah.
in between two like wrought iron hooks so that there's no getting in.
You cannot enter.
Yeah. Yep.
But here's what I do, right? I put it on the wrong side of the door. This is that would be a typical Zach move where the door can still freely swing open. I've just put the beam on the wrong side of the door, right?
You just have to make that beam the perfect height that matches their height so it blocks their vision.
Yeah. And you got to constantly move it as they grow.
Exactly. Problem solved. See, we solved so many problems today.
It's true.
You know what I thought I was going to hear you say, which you didn't, which maybe you didn't see. Did you hear that Tom Brady signed with the Bucks?
I did.
Wow.
I don't know how to feel about it. But I'm sure you aren't happy. Who's the backup quarterback for the Patriots?
Who the fuck knows?
What does the quarterback class look like for the draft?
I have no fucking clue. I've never thought to consider it because you just, it has to be a money thing. And yeah, he didn't have the best season, but he didn't have a bad season.
No.
Last year. But he's getting $30 million a year. So I didn't look up to see like contract comparisons, but one, he's old. Mm-hmm. Two, he doesn't need any more rings. Like people are like, oh, why would you go there?
No, he's proven everything that he needs to prove.
Now it's just money. Now he is literally working so his kids don't have to. You know?
Yeah,
and
well,
I can respect that.
Yeah, it's working because his kids won't have to, but it's also something that I think he genuinely enjoys doing. I mean, think about like...
But if he enjoyed doing it, wouldn't he stay in New England for less money? Unless there's other things going on there. I know he was kind of pissed about the Antonio Brown situation.
Yeah. Well, Antonio Brown turned out to be a pretty big chump, so...
I mean, I think they did a good job dodging that situation. He's gone batshit crazy. Talk about a guy throwing it all away.
Right.
But, you know, it's a sad day for Pats fans.
Yeah.
Myself included.
It's an end of an era, right?
Yeah, I was just talking to a friend of mine about that. She's really into football, and she sent me the notification, and I was like, wow, the team like just isn't the same without Gronk and Brady, and and I was like, fuck, you're right. It's an end of an era. That means I'm getting old.
I mean, what, he started in, was it 99?
99.
Yeah. Before the millennium came. I don't know what my dog wants, but my dog's whining at me.
I see a little tail flicking around there. Oh,
yeah.
Guy.
You're all right.
It's a tough day, you know?
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
But the show must go on, and we will continue to support our Patriots. And I did also hear that Gronk apparently signed a contract with the WWE, which I think is absolutely fucking hilarious.
That's like, okay.
That's the way to go, man. If you're a celebrity, you get on WWE, they pay you a shit ton of money, and you fuck around, make even more money, and be done. You know what? Good on Gronk. He's 33 now. Yeah. He's got millions in the bank. He just wants to have fun and live his life, and I'm happy for him. I wish he was playing football. I wish football still brought that happiness to him because I loved watching him play. But you know what? I'm happy that he's doing things that makes him happy.
Yeah.
I just hope he doesn't break his neck.
Like Kurt Angle. A real Kurt Angle situation.
Good old Kurt Angle.
Except Kurt Angle was an actual athlete.
He was.
Well, Gronk was too. Gronk was too.
Yeah. But I mean, there's always like... I mean, I would say anyone in the WWE is an athlete. Like, it's a pretty athletic job that they're doing. Sure. You got to be pretty tough. But it is funny to see, like, celebrities outside of WWE go and do WWE, where all of those celebrities typically are all of the WWE famous people are trying to get the fuck out, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, how can I leverage my wrestling career into a movie career?
The Rock was like, I'm fucking out. Stone Cold.
The Rock did it, man. I mean, Stone Cold's done a couple movies, but he's been pretty, like, you know, B or C level movies.
Yeah, I think he's got a podcast. But I mean, that's the way to go too. Like if you've got a following of any sort, start a podcast.
Well, and isn't it crazy that like that is the new way, eh? Like just make a podcast, make fat stacks like us.
Yeah, like us. We are rolling in it. Why am I
Rolling.
working?
Because you love your job, Zach.
Why are you working?
Because I love my job, Zach.
That's it. I netted 500K last year.
Just in podcast revenue.
Just in podcast revenue.
500,001 shillings.
Yeah.
What's a shilling worth?
I actually
these days?
don't
That's
know,
what I
but
wanna
that's
know.
more money than I actually made on the podcast. I can guarantee that. For 2019, yeah, I can guarantee that. Because I don't think I made anything in 2019.
Hey, Jumbled fans, we love you. Thanks for listening to our, semi-conscious
It's not
ramblings.
about the money. It's really not.
You know what it's about, Zach? It's about this right here. You and I sharing a moment. Anytime I can make you laugh and tilt your head back, it makes me happy. And I know sometimes that works out for our listeners too. And deep down inside, I like knowing that I'm making someone laugh.
You know what? I like that.
Sometimes. The occasional laugh,
Yeah. I think I've always had a fascination with recording. There was a program on, I think it was Windows 95, maybe. And it was called Microphone. It was just a built-in application in Windows. And we had a desktop microphone. Just a little one. It didn't even run USB. It was just one of those little, was it purple connectors or whatever that plugged into it. It was a 3.5 jack, but it ran specifically microphone and just did audio in.
Remember the colors? Yeah, purple.
Yeah.
That is such. I will never forget that. I would say it was more of a mauve.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is a straight up color I will never forget.
Yeah.
Thanks to growing up in the 90s.
Yep. But I remember opening up that program and just recording silly things, mostly by myself, but or I would try to say words backwards or whatever and see how.
You were born for this, bud.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I was born for this. I would just say it's something that I think I've always sort of thought was interesting. And
well, just keep working at your audio engineering and then just do that as a side gig and start taking on. I mean, there's always people looking to do post work, right?
Yeah.
And then
That's
before
true.
you know it, you'll be working full time at home.
Dude, that'd be pretty sweet. So if you want to hire me, I am for sale. And when I say I am for sale, I mean the whole thing, because Johnny can't have any pieces of it. Johnny can't have any pieces. Yeah. Well, and I know your price. Apparently, the price of the coronavirus is the only thing that can stop it, right? Yeah.
Speaking of, I should probably go throw another paint on a coat of paint on that tank. So you want to wrap this bad boy up or what?
Yeah, let's do it. My dog's whining at me anyway. I think she needs to go outside. So
Let's break.
Yep, let's wrap it up. Thanks for coming by, guys. If you would please head over to iTunes, leave us a rating and review. Send us any emails to jumbledpodcast@gmail.com or johnny.jumbled@gmail.com. Follow us on all social media at Jumbled Podcast. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled. Get your free 30-day trial and free audiobook. Also head over to patreon.com/jumbled. Pay $500 or whatever you can scrounge up right now in these economic hard times. And get us an address or get yourself the undying admiration of Jumbled. We appreciate you guys for listening, and we will see you guys next week for another episode of Jumbled, your favorite podcast.
I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, what's this even about?
I don't know.
Is that your way of telling me that you're quitting?
No, not yet.
No. That's next week.
Coming up on next week's episode of Jumbled, Johnny quits on live air. Watch Zach cry.
Just walks away. Zach cries. That definitely happened.
All
right.
I'm gonna start my Skype, and it's just gonna be a sign that says "I quit, bitch."
All right, brother. We'll see you later.
See you later, brother.
Recording.
Recording.
bow. Bow, bow, bow. Bow, 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 bow. Top of the morning to you. Welcome to Jumbled, your favorite podcast about nothing. I'm Zach.
Is that the real entrance?
That's the real intro. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, no.
It's St. Patty's Day, Johnny. That's why
Man, you threw me off with your random intro. I didn't get to do my pickup line.
All right, we'll act like it never happened. All right.
All right, go again.
All right. Now I gotta bust out my good Irish accent again. Here we go.